Kia ora maraku te tatu. Okay, so today's talk is about the left. Well, it's a bit of a perennial, talking about the left in New Zealand or even the left in Australia. And it's very difficult to actually bound up the stairs with with talk on the left because it all gets a bit heavy very quickly. Okay, so what's the basic outline of the analysis? The first port of call, I suppose, is the Labour Party and the trade union movement, because that is the old framework. And if we look at that and say, well, what's going on with the Labour Party, a couple of things come to mind. The first thing is that the Labour Party recently in New Zealand, for those people who are watching this outside of New Zealand, has gone through a bit of a spasm, I suppose, with what's known as man trapping or whatever it's called. I actually support it. The general idea is that the number of females in the Labour Party, representatives anyway, has stabilised, has reached a threshold of around 30% or something, or some small amount, and certainly not 50% or more than 50% as it should be. Any given other set of people at 30% in a kind of perennial fashion, sooner or later the 70 will become the 80, and the 80 will become the 90, and the big fish will swallow the little fish. And I just think that it's critical to try and get a women's college or some kind of carefully worked out situation for the left parties, because otherwise all of the advances in gender are lost. Now then, in order for that to happen, it seems to me that other things need to be in place as well. For example, the class analysis and the class position of the Labour Party really needs a very, very thorough overhaul and look at, because there actually is no class position in the New Zealand Labour Party that I can see. I think it's lost. That long ago, lost it maybe way as far back as Savage, or certainly as far back as Nash, possibly even as you say that Nordmeyer and Kirk coming through were trying to carry the flag, I suppose, but certainly by the time we got to Rolling and then to Clark, and particularly in the Longy regime and the Longy Douglas situation, all that was lost. And the general idea seems to have been that never mind the class position, so long as we get the gender position right and we get the ethnic position right, so-called, then all this will be good. But it hasn't worked out like that at all. And it's actually been a real mess, because while one supports what the Labour Party is trying to do with gender especially, I think they're really trying in that area, and in other areas as well. It's just not going to happen as a left party unless those things start to be addressed. Now then, that brings us to the Mana Party, which I think is the other left party, and I think it's the ray of hope myself. I think the Mana Party is a very, very good illustration at the last election of how the left can be reformulated, and I think we can go back to Matiu Rata, Pehuepa, a whole lot of other people, Eva Rickard, way back to T.W. Ratana, to see that the class position can be worked through in, as it were, an ethnic framework. I don't like to use that phrase, but let's just say that's where it was worked out. I'm thinking particularly of T.W. Ratana and the Morihu, the whole idea of the dispossessed and working to regain ground for the dispossessed. Matt Rata had the same philosophy coming through the Ratana Church and the trade union movement, and putting it together in his mana motuhake party. The Tamaiti in his mana party, I think all of these little strands, even Ricardo mentioned, can be seen as a really, really effective and important illustration of left thinking. So we now find ourselves with the mana party looking at a cooperation, collusion, whatever, with the Māori party, and I think there are so many question marks about that that need to be looked at very carefully, especially the relationship between the Māori Party and National. So if we look at where we are on the left, it seems to be compromised in various ways in Aotearoa, and falling back again to say the alliance and earlier manifestations of the left, the SUP, the Socialist Unity Party, and falling back too to look at the trade union movement. It's really a very, very faded and jaded situation. That particularly applies to the alliance, which is unfortunate because that could have been great, and it could have, if only it could have, if only it had regenerated itself under and through Javanderton. New Labour, the whole thing could have been revitalised at that point, but it wasn't, and it's drifting as a relic. And so I believe is a large section of the trade union movement. And the idea of the trade union movement and Labour working together, and once again we have some good illustrations of gender, but we don't have good illustrations of much else. It's not. It really needs a very, very thorough and hard workout. So in terms of where we are with the left in Aotearoa, I think there's a long way to go, and I think a lot of these things that I've been talking about actually, in my mind anyway, further advanced than they are in Australia, and I think there's a long, long way to go actually in Australia, and I think the Goulard situation there has illustrated my point. But I promised at the beginning of this little talk that it wasn't going to be a little bound up the stairs here, because it gets very heavy very quickly. It's like walking through treacle or something, the analysis of the left in Australia and New Zealand. And I just wish I could have been more positive. But they are the bright lights that I see. I think Labour should stick to its guns on the gender front and start to round on a whole lot of class issues now. I just think that it's drifting very badly. I think the Mana Party, if the Mana Party can stay in the same frame of reference that it had at the last election, and that's not too big a thing to ask. I really don't think it is. I think there's a lot of very good people in Mana, and I think that the latest example of what happened in Te Tai Rāwhiti, Te Ekaro Rāwhiti, with Te Hamua was very, very good. I think the organisation was strong. The Mana Party, I think, is a real beacon. You've been with Peter Cleave here, talking about the left. Okay, so that brings me to Tony. Whereabouts are you, Tony?
Okay.
All right. Okay, so come in, switch us on. And we're moving to the bass today. And we're moving to an old American folk song. Five, 6, 7.